interesting that I felt like in 2008 when I went from king of the world, building big houses and cash flow and lots of money, and I'm king of the world, to I couldn't even put on my tool bags and go make $25 an hour.
Right.
That I felt so alone. It feels interesting to be 10 years down the road and to hear that you were having the exact same experience, that we were all kind of getting an education, maybe one that we didn't want, but that we were getting it.
Yeah. Well, that was the first time in my life that I wondered if a college degree would have changed things. And I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the college system right now. My dad was very well educated. He had a master's degree. He could have finished his doctorate. He had his hours for his doctorate, but he was a high school teacher, never really cared to get that piece of paper. But he was passionate about education, but his philosophy was there's lots of different ways you can get educated. You don't necessarily have to go have a professor tell you.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, the way that colleges are leaning these days, my 15-year-old son, we've had conversations about what he would do, and I told him to go get certified in being a welder. He likes to weld. He likes to work with his hands. He'll make more money as a welder than he ever would with a bachelor's degree, probably.
Well, I've got two girls, 13 and 16, and they're talking about how do we get set up for college, and we talk about that a lot. And my concern is there's two things you can't bankrupt out of, and that's taxes and college debt. And so I'm like, girls, if you take on that debt, you are a slave to that debt for the rest of your life. And so we've started to pursue an option for military, somewhere to get your education, get training and get paid at the same time, but do not just go borrow money and go to college.
I had the same conversation with my son. Is there's nothing wrong with the military. The more than anything, if you really want to go the college route, then your grades should reflect that in high school in such a way where you got an opportunity to scholarship.
Yeah.
Come springtime, the lower 3 feet is going to come off on just these. I've already done the rest of the house. You can see where the mud is splashed up on it, the rain and the snow and whatnot, and so I'm going to do the tin like I did on the rest of the house. But the wood shrinks and moves around, and so I want to fill in the gaps with a good chinking like that. They have like 12 different colors, the company that I'm going to go with. So this is a piece I took the Mesmer stain and stained it. So
it looks really good. It's kind of got a bluish gray to it.
It's got a little bit of moisture in it right now. It just kind of, I don't know, I like this better, but I'm going to bring Cedar up here and let her.
So I really like the way this turned out, especially the corner.
Yeah, I do too. Brought everything together. Once the eaves I'm going to have to sand and stain the eaves. I don't want to work outside anymore. It's just too fucking cold, but like you can see the gaps here. I'm just going to chink everything real carefully and then I think you can see where I got stain on my fingers and touched the tin, and that's what got me thinking.
Well, so it's not going. The stain's not going to let it patina or rust.
It'll hold it right where it's at.
Yeah,
which I think is pretty cool. So if Cedar likes it as much as I like it, I think that's probably what we'll do with it. I'll rub it down with that. Get a sponge and rub it down with that Mesmer's, and the rest is history. So
bathroom window turned out great.
Yeah, got that done yesterday. I love it. I need to trim a little bit of Tyvek across the bottom off, and come spring, I want to do a galvanized rain gutter. It kind of matches the tin.
So everything we do up there, no rain gutter. Because of the root, because of the snow falling off, it just tears them off and tears them off.
I talked to a friend and he said you got to position the rain gutter to where it's just barely catching. It's far enough up underneath that it's just barely catching, because it's like up top I couldn't do it.
Right, you can see up there where the snow is sliding off.
It's just gonna peel that right off.
Yeah. But what I see here, you've got a pile of snow going here, and even on this slightly lower pitch roof, your snow is still sliding off.
Yeah, and even when it drips, like later today, it'll get warm enough that it'll start dripping, the ice will melt. It doesn't splash against the house. I did a longer overhang down here than I did up top.
I really like them where they stick out and you got all the decorative detail. It really pops up there. It's there, but it's more subtle.
Right. No, I do too. I think it all came together. Again, once everything's chinked and stained, every little crack, some of the around the rafters is not as tight as I like it to be,
but you'll chink that and then stain it.
It's real wood, and so these rafters have twisted and moved a little bit, and so when I was trimming it out, it just there's a little bit of gaps here and there. I'm not trying to build of course I'm trying to build a structurally sound house, and I think I've done that, but as far as the appearance is concerned, if I wanted perfection, number one, I shouldn't have done it up here. I should have done it in town. And number two, I would have done vinyl siding or something like that. Which the idea of doing that up here is...
This look is so cool, and it's unique. I mean, this is like an art piece. This isn't your cookie cutter house. This is...
Show me another house like it. I guess that's...
It's custom.
Not that it's... I'm not trying to prove a point any more than I think there's definitely an artistic expression happening to where it's... I could have done the board and batten the whole way, and maybe that would have been easier. But I wanted to do the horizontal siding, and both myself and my wife liked the idea, and so.
I think it's absolutely beautiful. Now that you've pushed this out, would you tell other people to push it out? Because I love you've got all the water and the moisture. If you look down here, there's even dirt still up against the house because you've got the snow pushed away so far.
It's dry. Yeah, dirt's actually dry. The only thing that we'll do at some point in the near future is I'm going to grade this even steeper. Yeah. So I'll take down another 1.5 feet or 2 feet around the house. So the idea is any moisture coming off the hill is not going to get near the house. And I think I'm going to go even deeper. I'll probably do a French drain on top of that.
Channel the water around the house.
Just going to get the moisture away as fast as possible. And so anything that gets anywhere near the house, there's going to be a 2 foot, probably with chipped wood. I guess that wood chipper will probably chip a whole bunch of maple.
Hey, I got a bunch of cottonwood for you. Why don't you chip? Why don't you take as many of those trees as you can?
That'd be easy to move. But and so I don't want anybody that's spent any time in construction, even down in Arizona. One of the biggest issues we would have is when people would put flower gardens right up against their house
and then water them with the sprinklers.
And then even down there, you'd have expansive soils that would heave and different things. And so I don't want moisture up against the house if I can help it. So I get asked about the rain collection all the time. Are you going to put in rain gutters and try and collect water? And I don't have an interest in that because we have such an abundance of water now with the spring. But I do want to control where the water goes. So
I like it. I think it turned out great.
Thank you.
There was a time as a kid where playing Legos, what I needed more Legos. I needed a new kit, more parts, more pieces, more blocks. I needed more Legos. So I had that material to create with. It's funny as I look at all of these tools laying around, and nails and pipes and pumps and stuff. Those are all just Legos. Those are all just materials for creating, for building, for making something. And I absolutely love the building and the making. When I walked in the door here at Red's, he's like, hey, I'm really sorry about the mess. I should probably clean this place up. I'm like, no, this is comfortable. This feels like home. All I see is stuff for building, stuff for creating. You can build yourself an amazing home with all this stuff. So if you're out there and you're wanting to build a home, it may not be a bad idea to look around at opportunities. And there's a couple of folks building some houses that up in our neck of the woods, and they've got shipping containers on site, and they haven't even started their house. And those are just for, hey, if they see a good deal on some cabinets that somebody's ripping out of a house, they're going to run over and get those cabinets, put them in the shipping container. They'll have those materials, those Lego blocks ready when they're ready to build on their house. or if they pick up some lumber or some tin, or find an old table saw that's a good deal online somewhere, they'll pick that up and they put it in the container, and then when they build their house, they'll have it. So I think that you can start building a house even before you have your land or house plans or whatever. You can start accumulating those Legos, those building blocks, those materials, and stuffing them away wherever, so that when it's time to start building, you've got lots of materials, lots of tools, whatever you need. I think it's absolutely unbelievable that Red has been able to buy the land, and 40 acres again, that's unbelievable. Most people don't have 40 acres. I would love 40 acres, but I'm not even sure what to do with 10 acres, let alone 40. But to buy $60,000 worth of dirt and then put in $40,000 into, it's rough. It's a shell. You can see behind me. This is not the Ritz-Carlton with high-end finishes, but it's paid for, and that freedom is something I wish everybody could have. And Red will continue to work as years go by, and he will feather the nest, so to speak, in improving things and polishing, and this thing is going to be a beautiful home, and he will never be at risk of losing it or having it repoed or being affected by the economy. And I think that freedom is what I absolutely want for everybody. I want it for myself, I want it for my kids, but I want to share this idea. I feel like if somebody would have sat me down when I was 18 and said, "Hey dummy, here's what you need to do. Let's instead of buying motorcycles and four-wheelers and camper trailers and hanging out with your friends and dinking around, why don't you go buy a 5-acre piece of dirt and get it paid for?" And when I think about the money that I've spent in rent and on mortgages, I could have bought several homes and several pieces of property, and they would all be paid for, and I could be 40 years old and semi-retired. I mean, for heck's sake, if I could have built 2 houses, rented one and lived in the other one, I could not go to work and have income, money coming in every month and be 40. I mean, most people spend 30 years slaving away at a job to get their house paid for, and some do and some don't. So I think that's the thing that I want most, is for people to see that, and it's hard, especially in this consumer society that we live in, that buying a piece of land and building yourself a house, even if you don't have the skills, with modern technology, getting the skills, finding somebody who can help you out, getting some good advice, you can do it. And when you do it, it'll have a lot more value if you build that house than if somebody else builds you that house. I can't believe that Red is into this thing $100,000, and he's going to have a really 2,000 square foot on 40 acres off grid. Everybody can do that. Absolutely everybody can do it. It may take some people longer. I mean, Red's put a lot of time into this. I think, I'm still working all the time. I don't think I could give it as much time as Red has given it. And so it might take me 4 years or 5 years to get my house built. I'm also raising 8 kids, and Red's a little further along. His kids are older than mine. So, but if I can get on this path and get going, the sooner I get on it, the sooner I can get across the finish line where land's paid for, house is paid for, and I pay my taxes. And other than that, if the economy crashes, if it's the end of the world, if I get sick, if I fall off a ladder and get hurt, my family has still got a home to live in, and a garden to grow vegetables in, and a place to put the chickens, and it's just a sense of security that I wish everybody had. But it's funny that I spent a lot of time overseas doing contracting work. I spent time in South America as a missionary. I have been around the world, and for some odd reason, it took this economic collapse. It took getting punched in the mouth before I kind of had my eyes open that this roller coaster of the economy that we're on can throw you off anytime it wants to, and that you're not in control there. So that started this change to want to get to a rural lifestyle, to have the flexibility and the freedom to build my own home, to do it $1 at a time, to not have to do a mortgage and work a job I don't want to work, to live somewhere I don't want to live. All of this freedom that this lifestyle can offer. I wish I would have gotten here sooner. I don't know that I could have. I think I needed that punch in the mouth of the economy tanking for me to open my eyes and say, I've got to find a better way. But I really want this for everybody. I know that I've had a lot of folks reach out, send emails. They want information, advice. I'm happy. Reach out, send me an email, drop me a line, whatever. I'm not great at typing. That's not my strength, but I'll get you a phone number. Call me. We can talk all you want. I'm happy to, if I could just help 2 or 3 people to get to this lifestyle across the finish line of house paid for, land paid for, where all you've got is your taxes. It would better your life. It'll better mine. It's what I want for everybody. It's what I want to use this platform of YouTube to share with people, is that there is another way, that you don't need to buy a $300,000 house, make payments for 30 years, and end up paying $600,000 for a house that might only be worth $200,000.